Hello guys, gals, non-binary pals, and waterfowls, it's me Big Mike, and I'm coming at you with another video. Honestly, I was not planning on dropping another video so soon, as I was planning on my next video being another installment in my favorite free book site series, and those tend to take a bit longer to write, record, and edit. However, the response to my last video was something spectacular. As of the writing of this video, it has over 3,000 views and 69 comments, becoming my best video ever. And you lovely guys, gals, non-binary pals, and waterfowls commenting have made this a special experience. I learned quite a lot. I've learned so many interesting facts from you about both copyright and public domain. And so in this video, I want to share with all of you 5 of these amazing facts. Now, just a quick disclaimer before we jump into these facts. I did my best to fact check these to make sure they were accurate, and to the best of my knowledge, they all are. However, I'm not a copyright expert, nor am I a lawyer. I'm a layperson interested in this subject, and I have learned a lot about it, but I'm not professionally trained in this field, so take what I say with a grain of salt. Our first fact comes from a user by the name SGF4. They write, George Orwell books are now in Guatemala's public domain. Guatemala book copyright law is deaf plus 75 years. Since Orwell died in 1950, his works, most famously 1984 and Animal Farm, are now in the Guatemala public domain. And that's true, Guatemalan copyright is governed by the law on copyright and related rights. And this law provides protection for authors' life plus 75 years after their death. And since George Orwell died in January 21st, 1950, the copyright on his works, including 1984 and Animal Farm, expired at the end of 2025 in Guatemala. Now, for comparison, in the United States, our copyright laws are a bit more complex. The term of copyright for a particular work depends on several factors, including whether it has been published, and if so, the date of the first publication. As a general rule, for works created after January 1st, 1978, copyright protection lasts for the life of the author plus an additional 70 years. For an anonymous work, a pseudonymous work, or a work made for hire, the copyright endures for a term of 95 years from the year of its first publication, or a term of 120 years from the year of its creation, whichever expires first. And all of that information about the American copyright law or United States copyright law is coming straight from the United States Copyright Office. So if you're in Guatemala and you would like to make film adaptations of these books, you'd like to make a video game, maybe even an adult film, hey, I'm not going to judge you, fam. No judgment here at all. You're now free to do with these books as you please. If you felt like Guatemala's copyright term was too long, you will really love this next fact. And this next fact comes from a user named Nitwit's World. They write, The Hobbit became public domain in New Zealand due to having a shorter copyright period. So if anyone wants to make a children's book based on that series, go move to New Zealand. When looking into this one, I found out that not only is The Hobbit in the public domain in New Zealand, but so are the Lord of the Rings books. New Zealand's copyright laws are governed by Copyright Act 1994, and its copyright term is author's life plus 50 years. And J.R.R. Tolkien died in 1973, making 2023 the 50th anniversary of his death. This means the original text is free to use in New Zealand. What I found so interesting about this entry is the fact that New Zealand has a strong connection to the Lord of the Rings franchise. The Peter Jackson films were filmed there. But what makes it interesting is the fact that these books will enter the public domain in the land where these films were filmed well before they will enter the public domain in the UK, the land where they were written. So I found that to be an interesting little tidbit. But also, it's another great example of how copyright law works differently in different countries. The first two facts centered around books I'm familiar with. However, this next one centers around something that's completely new to me. And this fact comes from a user by the name Kevin Smith, WM8TD. And just let me say, Kevin Smith is a phenomenal name to have. Anyway, they write, another public domain entry is the Golden Bat, Japan's first superhero. Creepy skeleton guy in a cape with an eerie laugh from the ancient continent of Atlantis, who punishes evil with his wide array of superpowers. Though it is a similar situation to Steamboat Willie, as it pertains to his early Kamikashibai incarnations, and not his iconic 1960s look from the anime and live-action film starring Sonny Chiba, or its derivatives that take on a more vampiric look for the skeletal hero, like the concept trailer for the failed OVA or the 2022 manga. The one that is public domain now in Japan is a bit goofier with a wig, a Shakespearean musketeer look with a poofy collar and googly eyes. We will not see this version as public domain in America until next year. And for those who are unfamiliar, kamishibai, it literally means paper play, and it's a traditional form of Japanese street theater. Oganbat, also known as Golden Bat, is a pre-Superman superhero often regarded as possibly the world's first modern superhero. He originated in the Japanese street performance art of paper theater and debuted in 1931. Now, fam, under U.S. copyright rules, the character would definitely enter the public domain in 2027. In Japan, however, copyright law protects individually offered works under the creator's real name or a known pseudonym for 70 years after the author's death. But before December 30th, 2018, the term was 50 years. But works that had already entered the public domain between 1999 and 2018 remained there. And research shows the primary illustrator, and I hope I don't mispronounce this, if I do mispronounce this name, please forgive me, Takio Nagamatsu, died on November 17, 1961. Based solely on his contribution, the original paper theater version would have entered the public domain around 2011 or 2012 under the old 50-year rule. Now, the original writer, Suzuki Ichiro, whose real name is Suzuki Hitaro, sometimes misspelled or translated variably, worked under a known pseudonym. Now, reliable sources indicated he died in the post-war period around age 60. Now, unfortunately, no precise death date is widely documented, making it hard to pinpoint the exact status for his textual contributions. Overall, the core original 1930s paper theater depiction of Oganbat is widely considered public domain in Japan today, though later adaptations, such as the manga, the post-war manga, films, or anime, remain protected. So far we've talked about books, we've talked about a character, but maybe you're looking for something to watch. Well, if that's the case, fam, these next two entries are just what you're looking for, as they both can now be seen on Wikimedia. And this next one in particular has to go down as one of the biggest fumbles in both cinema history and copyright history. And this fourth fact is, The Night of the Living Dead is public domain. Now, for this entry, maybe I'm cheating a little bit, as this one came from me. But to be fair, when I wrote this, I had no idea I was going to make this video, but still, it's an interesting bit nonetheless. Now, before I explain how this film became public domain, let me introduce this film. Night of the Living Dead, 1968, is a groundbreaking American independent horror film, directed, photographed, and edited by George A. Romero, who co-wrote the screenplay with John Russo. It was produced by Russell W. Streiner and Carl Hardman. The story follows a diverse group of survivors, including Duane Jones, Judith O'Dea, Marilyn Eastman, Carl Hardman, Judith Riley, and Keith Wayne, who barricade themselves inside a remote farmhouse in rural Pennsylvania as they fight off slow-moving, flesh-eating, reanimated corpses. Though the creatures are called ghouls in the film, it is rightly credited with establishing the modern zombie archetype that dominates popular culture today. And this is how it became public domain. Now, in the United States, the film inadvertently entered the public domain upon release. The original prints, prepared under the working title Night of the Flesh Eaters, included a proper copyright notice. However, when the distributor Walter Reed organization changed the title to Night of the Living Dead to avoid conflict with another film, they removed the old title card and the notice with it, but failed to add a new one. And at the time, U.S. copyright law required a visible notice on distributed copies to protect the work. Without it, the film lost copyright protection from the start. And I haven't really looked too far into this, but somebody had to get fired for that, right? I mean, there's no way something that big could happen and nobody not get fired for that. A word of caution here, fam. So even though this is public domain, there are some people out there who think they own the rights to this film. And to be sure, because it's public domain, there have been many re-releases of this, and there have been some modifications, and those modifications to those re-release versions are very much copyright protected. However, the original version is not. But there are some people who try to claim that it is. A good friend of mine, if you watch the channel for a long time, whose name will sound familiar, Azar Khan, he actually streamed this on his Twitch one Halloween a couple years ago. And he was hit by a copyright strike, despite the fact that he was using the public domain version found on Wikimedia. So if you're a YouTuber or a streamer and you plan to use this film, be cautious. Now, in our final fact of this video, a user introduces us to an amazing piece of cinema history found in the public domain. Now, this user, his name is AJ1770s, and the comment starts off like this because they wrote it as a reply to the comment I made about the Night of the Living Dead being public domain. Their comment reads, "What? Also, to add my hat into the ring, A Man with a Movie Camera, one of the most highly acclaimed documentaries of all time, is full on Wikipedia." Now, this fact is pretty straightforward. It is in fact in the public domain, and it is available for free on Wikipedia and Wikimedia. So here I'm going to tell you a bit about this film and what makes it so special. Man with a Movie Camera is a 1929 Soviet silent experimental documentary film, directed by Dziga Vertov, with cinematography by his brother Mikhail Kaufman, and editing by his wife Yelizaveta Svilova. And you know what? I probably butchered the hell out of those names, so please forgive me if you speak Russian. Anyway, it has no traditional plot, actors, intertitles, or narrative structure. Instead, it depicts a day in the life of a Soviet city, and it's filmed across Odessa, Kyiv, and Moscow, from dawn to dusk, capturing ordinary people at work, leisure, and play, while intertwining scenes of machines, urban bustle, and modern life. The film is highly self-reflexive. It frequently shows the cameraman filming, the editor at work, and even the audience watching the film itself, making it a meta-exploration of cinema. Now here's what makes it so special. It pioneered countless cinematic techniques, split screens, double exposures, extreme speeds, jump cuts, stop motion, and all those defined modern film language. As a plotless, self-reflexive experimental documentary, it embodied Vertov's Kino-Eye theory. Cinema as a mechanical eye revealing truths beyond human vision. Free from narrative or actors, it deconstructs the filmmaking process itself, influencing avant-garde documentary and even music video styles. So if you're interested in filmmaking, the history of cinema, or you're just looking for a unique movie experience, be sure to take advantage of this one's public domain status and give it a watch for free on Wikimedia or Wikipedia. So those were 5 facts about the public domain from the comics section of my last video. Which fact did you find the most surprising? Are there any amazing facts about the public domain that I didn't mention? If so, let me know below, and if I get enough, I might do another one of these videos. And if you're watching this, chances are you're interested in legally free and public domain media. And if that's the case, be on the lookout for my next video. It's going to be an entry into my series I have here on this channel, 5 of my favorite free and legal book sites. And that should be out either next week or the week after next. And with that, I'll close out the video proper here. So special thanks to Fran, who does a wonderful job of doing my art. She's back on Twitter, and she's looking to make friends in the art community. So if you're in the art community and you're looking for friends, give Fran a shot. Also, if you're looking to have artwork done for you, consider commissioning Fran. Fran is a damn good artist. She's a damn good person to work with, and she's all around fantastic. A special thanks to all of my friends on Twitter. I wouldn't be here without you all. A special thanks to all of you who commented on my last video and made it so special. This video right here today would not have been possible without you lovely guys, gals, non-binary pals, and waterfowls. And a special thanks to all of you who watched this video. Now, if you like my video, please like it. However, if you do not like my video, please leave me a comment below and let me know why you don't like my video so I can make better videos. And if you like my videos, please subscribe and turn your notifications on. Until next time, fam, remember, just be yourself and you'll be awesome. Peace out!